Hello and welcome back to Bump Love. If you've not subscribed to our channel, please do, especially if you're interested in content about family, motherhood, womanhood, and parenting. But if you're already subscribed, well, welcome back. So good to have you. Now, we've done this twice so far, and it's called Story Time. And there's only 3 of us that have not done our story time yet. Hey. There's Angie, then there's Rosette, and then there's Rachel. So we're gonna spin the wheel. Spin. And today it's story time with Rachael. First of all, I must admit she's very nervous. Extremely nervous. So we're just trying to get her ready. Because what she's going to share with us has been a really personal journey. And it's been quite the experience even for us here on the show. And she's going to share her fertility and conception experience. As you know, she has a child, wonderful Micah, and she's kept saying the second child eludes her, and so now we want to talk to her about that, because also many of you have been asking, like, oh my God, tell us, even me, I'm going through. So today we are going to talk to Rachael. Rachael, welcome to the show.
I think this is how guests feel. I am so nervous.
Are you well? Welcome to Bump Love.
Thank you. Thank you. I have been praying about this show, so.
And postponing it.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Can you share with us what your vision was? Like, you know, we always knew Rachael when she was getting married. She had like this vision for her life, especially her married life, organizing herbal cups, her teacups, and they're like china plates, about what, like dainty little things with children running around. And we kind of want to hear what that was, what your vision has been for your family.
You sort of have already touched on it, and I have shared this on the show countless times. I really looked forward to family life, my family life. I actually posted on my Instagram a few days ago that I played house a lot. I was those people who mommy and daddy game. I don't think Nabasha played mommy and daddy. Did you play?
I want the other part of mommy and daddy.
Man, we went from 0 to 100.
Right?
So quick. Without the work.
One up from me, you wrong corner.
You played mommy and daddy. I would actually cook in tins. Yes, the blue band tin.
Exactly.
Yeah. Even in playtime, yes, it was fun. It was fun. So yes, I played mommy and daddy a lot, and I always look forward to having my offspring. I always thought maybe like 2 girls and a boy, just having people look up to me and depend on me. Getting married for me was a dream come true. I was like, finally, it's happening. So when Ben and I got together, we had that conversation, the expectations conversation. Oh, how many children do you want? I think at the time we'd said 2. Ben, coming into the marriage, had a son. And so we were thinking if we have 2 more children, 3 is a good number. So we got into, and then he kept saying this thing of, when we get, God will give us children when he gives us children. Yeah, so there was no like definite, maybe after 6 months we start trying, or like after a year we start trying. And yet me, I'm those people, I'm like, I want to know, when do we get into this thing together? So 3 children was the dream. And when we got married in 2013. I turned 28 that year. So now I mean, we got into the marriage, were been advised that, you know, when you get married, take time to get to know each other, right? So spend some time. That could range from six months to a year. But because I was so eager to start a family, I think towards the end of that year when we got married, I started considering and, you know, trying, having conversations with my mom. I'd not done any family planning, again, because there was all this talk about if you do family planning, you could derail your chances. So I didn't do any family planning. And so at the end of that year, I began to actively think about trying. So I started to follow my cycle. So before getting married, yes, I knew there was a cycle, but like I didn't know safe days, unsafe days, ovulation and all of that. And so I remember having a conversation with a friend who was like, so what are you thinking about children? And I said, I'm trying. So she said, do you know your cycle? And I'm like, yeah, I know that at the end of the month I get a period. Yeah, so she's like, no, you have to look at your cycle. There are all these apps which you can download. You know when you're ovulating, that's the best time to have sex so that you can get pregnant. So I started doing it. Of course, month 1, it's exciting. Now I'm starting to feel my body. I'm like, oh, now I know how ovulation feels. And it's amazing. It's there. It is there. You feel your there's there's the pain that you feel on either side of your ovaries. And so I started to follow my cycle. So at the beginning of 2014, I was not worried. I think I was more anxious because I really wanted this thing. I was like, I thought when you just have sex, you get pregnant. Sure. Yeah, like, why is it taking so long? Where there are so few days in the cycle where I can get pregnant? And then some of those days, maybe you are not talking with your spouse, therefore you're not going to have sex. So that would just be so frustrating. There are days within which you can get pregnant, and then there are days where it is just for enjoyment. So yeah, the dream really was to have 3 children, first take some time to get used to the whole married life, get to know each other better, and then start on the journey of having children.
So now, Rach, we want to hear about the journey to Micah's conception.
I actually conceived Micah just as I was beginning to panic, like, oh my gosh, something could be wrong with me. But prior to that, I had had a conversation with a doctor friend, and I told her, this is what I'm thinking. I'm ready now to start, conceiving, the journey of conception. So she said, it's advisable that you go visit a gynecologist, just make sure everything is functioning well. And then maybe start on your vitamins. What are they called? Folic acid. Yeah, so she said start taking folic acid just to sort of prepare your body, work on your diet. Of course, this conversation was, with my mom as well. She had bought me some, multivitamins, just getting your body ready for the entire process. And I think there's something about getting your body ready that creates anxiety when it's not happening. So I was taking my folic religiously. I was doing a lot of reading online, reading about sex positions. Yes,
Tell us. Asking for my neighbor, asking for a friend.
Oh gosh. So these sex positions were the ones that are more, that help enhance your chances of getting pregnant, because you can get pregnant with any sex position. That is the truth. And those articles will tell you that there is no one sex position that is better than the other, but there are those that have
higher chances.
Yeah, I'm not going to fall into
You've
another
done
choice.
I'll take it.
Okay. So I was reading a lot. I was taking my vitamins. Yes, I did. I do remember going to see a gynecologist just once to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. He ran a couple of tests. He said, you're still within the normal range of like conception, which is, I just turned 28. 29.
29,
yeah,
yes.
29. I turned 29 that year. And so, and then the ultimate advice I think for me was just enjoy sex. Don't go in thinking now, oh my gosh, let me position myself so that, the sperm can enter and then I can get pregnant. But I do remember doing weird things, not weird, they advised in the articles, things like.
Yes. I was waiting for that.
You were?
Yeah.
So like after sex, I would put my feet. Imagine it. Oh my gosh, it's a thing. Yeah, so that the sperm can. Yes.
You say you cross, you keep your legs crossed.
Your legs crossed. Yeah. So I don't know remember if Ben asked me.
Is it me or it's
I think it's just a
I don't know. The things might swim somewhere.
Because they swim, yeah, at the end of the day, and they have their trajectory.
Especially if you're trying for something, you'll do whatever
You'll
it
do
takes.
whatever.
Yeah, you'll do whatever
I
it
think
takes.
you'd go upside down because
People somersaults there.
Just enough. Yes. So if we did, oh my gosh, I'm going to say something. If we did the doggy position,
Yeah. Did she
Yes.
say that?
yes.
Now my head. Explain for those who don't understand.
Mama Rachael.
You guys, I'm telling you my story. Yes. Anyway, back to the same Rachel that you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did all of that. I don't remember ever thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I don't think this is going to happen. But like I said, just as I was beginning to think, maybe there's something wrong with it, because that experience happened maybe 3 to 4 months, and I conceived in June of 2014. Let me see, June, July, August. So 2 months shy of our first anniversary. 2, 3 months shy of our first anniversary. And I was elated. I was excited. I mean, there'd been a couple of times where I had tested and I thought I was.
Yeah.
You know that when you think you're pregnant and maybe your period has just delayed a couple
And then
of
the
days,
hormones are
and then
playing
the
all over the
hormones are all
place.
over and because you've read, you're like, oh my gosh, my boobs are tender. Oh, it might be happening. And then the day you buy the test is when your period shows up. Yeah. So the time that I knew that I was pregnant, I waited maybe about 10 days after my period should have shown up.
Yeah.
I was not feeling anything, but then I tested and I was like,
wow.
those 2 lines.
did your own test.
Yes, I first did my own
Nice.
test and then I went to confirm at the clinic.
At the clinic.
Oh,
Oh, so nice.
did no phone call. We are pregnant.
Oh,
Or those things
yeah.
on TV where you make a scene when
No.
I have they pack in a box. I have a gift.
Oh gosh, no. But for the children that are coming, I have thought
Definitely.
about how I'm going to break the news. I feel like actually I will keep the news to myself because I want to savor it.
Oh, yeah.
Then I will break it to the world.
Yeah.
But for Ben, I know there was no grand gesture. I just told him. Also because remember I had used a pea stick. I wanted to be sure as you girl. I tested I think like 30 times.
Yeah, I figured.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wasn't
waiting
seeing you
the
with
red
one.
lines.
Just
No.
No,
I
you can't
tested
have
many
one.
many
Many
times.
times.
Yeah, and then when I knew like I'm for sure I must be pregnant, I was like, oh, by the way, when you came back home, yeah, it was very
Oh my
exciting.
goodness, that sleep just reminded me of a very close person of mine who has been waiting to get pregnant. So she went to hospital just randomly. She was like, your her feet were swelling, so they did the test for her, and they broke the news. She's like, wait, where did you throw my biscuit? Bring it! I need to tell.
Like she has kept it.
I know
that's
the
so
feeling.
sweet.
Yeah.
I know the
That's
feeling.
so sweet.
No, I know. I know that Micah came and you were excited, but after Micah, you have been waiting to conceive baby too.
Yes.
But at what point did you realize that you were not conceiving as soon as as you had hoped to?
Yeah. So after Micah came, I was those people who was like, I want to have my children and like finish that chapter of my life. So when Micah was a year after we celebrated his first birthday, I was like, okay, I guess let me now get into trying again for baby number 2. And I thought because I had had Micah, it's going to happen again naturally. Maybe give or take 3, 4, 5 months and I should be able to conceive. So we tried. Micah turned 2, nothing is happening. In his second year, my mom is like, oh, have you considered going to see a doctor? And I said, for what? Yes, I didn't have to go to see a doctor to check anything, and I conceived naturally. I didn't go all out in terms of looking for, a child. So I actually was in denial for like maybe 2 years. After Micah, and then remember at the time Micah had this whole speech thing going, so I was a bit distracted also. So my mom kept insisting. I know I keep referring to my mom because we're very close, And she, of course, wants grandchildren. And it just seemed, it has been an easier journey because she's been around and I'm able to talk to her about.
You have a nice mom.
I do.
I do.
Her. She's really sweet.
Yes, she is.
Anyway, so
Apples on their tree.
right?
True. Makes sense.
Yeah, so I began now the journey. I went back to my gynecologist and I said, look, I have been trying to conceive. And she's like, oh, you know, let's start checking. So I knew that I was not going to conceive as quickly as I hoped to, maybe like 2 years from the point that I wanted to start trying. So which is when my katanda, yeah. So that's when I started the doctor visits. I went to my gynecologist. She said, let's run some tests. The doctor that I was seeing at the time suggested, what do you call it, stimulating ovulation. So I was taking some drugs that help to stimulate ovulation. But the problem with that is because it's hormonal, then they are going to grow the fibroids. So I stopped, yeah, because I was like, I don't want another problem. And I've seen people go for surgery for fibroids. So I continued in that, and then the trying began. The real trying. What can we do? Where are the herbs? I drank herbs. I drank herbs, the disgusting ones, the bitter ones, the sour ones, the ones that are just there and plain and have no taste.
Who was bringing them for you, your mommy?
I went to see a couple of people. There's a lady that I went to see in, I think she's in Nigeria. And you find all sorts of people there who have all sorts of issues. People with kidney issues, people who are looking for children, people who have issues with like their blood. And everyone has like their own prescription, yes. They give you like powder form, some you have to mix in water, some are like actual tablets. Yeah, so that journey began, and the more I did it, the more I felt very lonely. And I think, I don't know if this is the part where I should introduce my husband.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's the part.
This is not the part. Okay.
But I'm in this story.
This, yes, please.
This story. Okay, fine. Najamba said earlier that you can do anything when you're desperate. But aren't you worried about now the way that a doctor comes and tells you that these the pills you're taking, they may help you, but then they have these effects. Are they giving you this? Aren't you worried about what you're ingesting and what?
I think what was going through my mind was they are natural. I didn't even know where they were coming from. Yeah, but like they will tell you that these are unnatural herbs. Therefore, I guess they are okay for your body, which is not. I don't think is entirely true. I never suffered any side effects. I never suffered any side effects. I just used to take them, and I think also. Yeah, so take them, like I said, there's something about trying to prepare your body for conception that raises anxiety. I mean, already emotionally, I'm not okay. So even if I'm swallowing herbs and I don't know drinking what, I'm not at peace. And I think that is what lacked a lot in that journey. I was not at peace. I was desperate. I was desperate. Every month when my period showed up, I wailed like a baby. It was such a lonely journey that seeing my period, I would just see darkness. You know, where you're like, my period is here again. That means I have to wait another 2 weeks before I can try. What am I going to do in these 2 weeks? I'm never ever going to get pregnant. And so that journey made me really desperate. I used to look at, you know, women, people who I had gotten married with around the same time, having their second and third and fourth. And I'm like, Lord, by the time I catch up, like, what is that time period going to look like, you know? And so that I used to get triggered by all sorts of things. Going online and seeing people announcing baby news and seeing baby showers being thrown, you know? Hearing that so-and-so is pregnant for the second and the third and the fourth time. And I was just like, Lord, what is wrong with me? What is wrong? I have tried everything, and I think my battle, yes, like what is happening? My battle was very, very internal and very lonely.
Yeah. You keep saying lonely. And yet you're married.
And yet I am married.
So me as saying that. Please go on. A few shows.
Oh Lord, yes. As saying
married. In African culture, we forget the would I call you a victim? Okay, maybe a survival victim, whatever. who is usually the woman, and then we're always focusing on, is the man okay? Is the man fine? So you say lonely, and I hear you say your mom.
Yeah.
But Ben was alive.
Very alive.
Yeah.
And breathing. Yes.
So what was your marriage journey like? Because now this is a facet of your life that's affecting you as an individual, that's affecting maybe you as a mom, as a woman, as a wife, and then Ben is also part of this journey.
Yeah.
So there must be some issues there.
Yeah.
So what did that do for your marriage? What did your marriage look like? If I was a fly on the wall.
Ooh. This journey has tested our marriage. I think first and foremost, there were already underlying issues, and I've been open about those with you ladies. Yeah. Like any young couple, we were struggling with our things, personality clashes and expectations not being met. And I think going into marriage, my idea was, oh my gosh, we're going to do everything together. And it didn't happen at first. Yeah. And because we were already clashing over other, I'm going to call them minor issues, this just exacerbated it. Yeah. It just made it even harder. And I quickly realized that the way I feel about conception is different from the way Ben feels about conception. For him, his view was, we will get children. We are people of faith. We put our trust in God. Did we ask for Micah? No, we did not. He came to us, you know. And it's true, the Bible says God is the one who gives children. Yes. You can swallow all the tablets and all the herbs that you want. You can go even to witch doctors. But ultimately, God is a giver of children. Now, while that truth makes sense, at that point, it did not make sense. Yeah, the reality of it, you know.
When you kind of feel like you're the one failing.
Failing, exactly.
You know, for him, I feel like sometimes he would say that because, well, he's had the first one.
He's already had a child.
He came with the first child.
Yes.
Then he has had the second one. So yes, please.
So naturally, it looks like I am the one who has the problem. Yeah.
It's harder.
So it really did test our marriage. And I think I quickly realized, I remember I would go to him sometimes, like when my period has come, and like, this is my person, like I want him to, to console me. My period has come, oh my gosh, can you believe? And you'd be like, okay. Like there would be, it would be blank.
You wanted this one.
Bus. Oh, you know me, Kumla.
Guys, he bussing you.
My dear husband. Anyway, yeah, so I didn't get the bus that I was looking for. And so for me, that communicated in many ways that, you know, maybe you are in this thing alone. Yeah. Again, which was not necessarily true. Yeah, it's just that, and I have learned this over my, my journey, that I've spoken to so many women who are trying to conceive, and they're like, oh my gosh, I feel alone. I'm like, no, you're not. Your husband just expresses it differently. At his very core, he wants children as well. It's just that you, because you're the one who is going to carry and all, you will carry the emotion and the burden of it a bit more than he does. Now, of course, emotional Rachael, yeah, it was like times 10. I was beside myself. Let me just put it that way. I was beside myself. So it really tested our marriage. And at the end of 2020, now when I was coming to...
Were you able to communicate this with him, or?
Oh, yes.
It became a fight in the
It became a fight, yeah. It became a fight. I would go to the... And now I even stopped sort of telling him, like, oh, I'm trying this. I would just get my things and I try them. Yeah. Where we required money, I would say, by the way, I'm going to the doctor and they have recommended this, I need money.
Oh, where you required his sperm?
Yeah. I would make myself available.
Wow. Make myself available. We'll talk about all these other things.
Yes, that's what
the key.
Yes.
He was providing
but
that one.
But sex can be hard.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is, because remember, at my core, and for us women, I guess sex is emotional. You want to be able to feel like you connect with your person, even on this journey of trying to get a child.
It's already become a little bit technical.
Yes, it has become technical. So the sex had become technical.
Either way.
Yes, either way it's technical.
Sure.
Apparatus is all we need.
It's all we need, yeah.
Apparatus! We're thinking now of the end result.
Yes. I remember in 2019, I met a fertility specialist, and I started doing some treatments with her. that was at the beginning of 2019. Remember, my marriage, things are already dicey. There's like a bit of tension, but I was determined. I said, me, I want children. Maybe when we get children, all this tension will dissipate. And so I started seeing this fertility specialist. I were doing all the injections on the stomach and running all these tests. And month 1, nothing happened. Month 2, nothing happened. Month 3, nothing happened. They were quite costly, and they were very costly. And so when nothing happened in the 3rd month, she's like, you know what? Maybe we need to check your tubes. So I went and had a check for my tubes, and that's when I discovered, oh, there's a bit of a blockage.
Shouldn't this have been done?
Yes, those are all the questions I asked. I was like, I wish I had done this before spending all this money. Yeah, she should have suggested that.
She should.
Yes.
For me, I'm still even on the first doctor of before Micah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I'm still from before. Like, she's gone through this, and some of these things could probably have been seen, but you know how our doctors are, they're like, you just got married.
Just do ovulation,
which is also true.
Recommended is a year. Yeah. I think it was in 2019 that I thought, you know what, Lord, I think I am done. I'm done trying. And I don't think you can ever be done completely, because there's that thing innately, when you really want a child. I don't know how to describe desiring a child and not being able to have one, and then saying I am done. Like, you can never really be done. But I think I had reached the end of myself emotionally and mentally. I was struggling, my marriage was struggling, and I was like, you know what? Let me first stop doing anything. So I stopped seeing doctors, I stopped herbs, I stopped everything. And then in 2020, after the lockdown, I remember I'm now at peace. I'm sort of calm. I've reconnected with God. I am very much a faith person. Grew up in a pastor's home, but you come along the journey, sometimes I think you become complacent. And I think that's where I was. I used to tell God, I want a child. I know you want a relationship with me, because that's what I felt in my spirit. You want a relationship with me. And sometimes God withholds things from us just to get our attention. And I felt like that's what was happening in this case. But I was like, Lord, you give me a child, and then you and I can.
We shall see how that
shall sort ourselves out. And I will be very willing, because now you have given me a child.
And yet
I will do all that devotion. I'll do anything you want. And I guess, just give me a child. So in 2020, my husband and I had our biggest fight yet. We'd been squabbling, we'd been bickering, we'd been silent treatment, all of that. But in 2020, I remember going to him now. I was more calm, clear-minded, and I was like, but there are all these interventions. There's IVF, there's, IU. There's like, why can't we try one of these interventions? And my husband said, no. We are people of faith. We believe that God gives children, and we are going to believe him for children. Now, I am a person of faith, and I firmly believe in what my husband said. But at the time, I did not want to hear that. And I had reached the end of myself. Remember, I'm already feeling like I'm carrying this burden alone. And for you to come and tell me that God is going to give us children and I don't know what, like that's, I don't want to hear that. Like, where's my husband? Where's my friend? Where's my partner? And so this girl fought. She shouted, me, Rachael. I said, I'm done. I'm done with this. You keep saying God, God, God. I don't want you to throw God at me, because I know God. I have heard God things all of my life. That's not what I want to hear now. I feel like I have been shouldering this burden by myself. And all you can tell me is God is going to give us children. Just, I'm done. And we went to bed. I remember we had come from an event. We started the conversation in the car. He left me in the car, walked up the stairs. I followed him. But usually when we're having fights with Ben, I know that there's going to come a time when I will sit down and initiate a conversation. This time, you
were like, no.
I was like, Kachi, you can let it pour. What can I do? The contact. Yes, I was done, you guys. I was so tired. And it was many things. Yes, it's a piling of emotions. Yeah. Now, please note, I remember talking about this on the Kuguma episode. I didn't want a divorce, but I was like, something has got to give. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it looks like. I'm done. Yes, I'm done with this, but I don't know what this is. So this was end 2020. Okay, end 2019 into 2020. I'm having my reconnection with the Lord. I'm rejuvenating my faith. I'm reading my Bible more. I'm praying more. I'm fasting more. I'm plugging into spaces where I'm praying and just trying to hear from the Lord. But prior to this, so the fight happened prior to this. And I got to a point where now I'd go to my prayer closet and say, Lord, I am tired. Emotionally, mentally, I've asked you for a child. You don't seem to be hearing. My marriage is falling apart. So over to you. Like,
Amen.
Take over.
You do you. And I remember we went a couple of months in what my husband likes to call wife mode and husband mode. We were just existing. We were in the house. And do we need milk? Do we need bread? What are you doing today? Like zero intimacy. So it was at the beginning of 2020 that we sat down and had a conversation, but it first got worse before it got better. Yes, yes.
With Senga Pumla somewhere in the background.
Senga
But in
Pumla.
my mind, I'm just like, you guys, COVID was coming. They were going to lock
They were going to lock us down, right? Right?
No one wants to be locked down
In
in
that
environment,
state,
That environment.
Yeah, and thank God that we resolved that issue before lockdown, because lockdown would have been unbearable. And we kept laughing about it. We're like, can you imagine if we're not talking in this period where we are locked in the house, just the two of us? So 2020, we start having a conversation. So usually in a marriage, maybe I'll speak for myself. When you're having fights with your person, sometimes you think, okay, I thought that the reason my marriage was failing was my husband. He was the problem.
Yeah.
We all think that way?
Yeah. You start off that way.
Oh, okay, that's how.
We had a Senga session.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Because we usually think that.
We are. So I kind of felt like if he could only fall in line,
Everything would be
everything
fine.
would be perfect.
It is him.
Yes, it is him. Me, I'm a good wife.
Who trying to get pregnant,
Trying to
give
get
you a
pregnant,
child.
give you a child,
Yeah.
make a good home for you.
Yeah.
You know, and here you were just being Ben. Yeah. So I felt like if you would only get in line, things would be okay. And I remember when I started reconnecting with God, He began to show me that, Rachel, you're not as perfect as you think you are.
True.
Yeah, that you are carrying this self-righteousness and putting your husband on this self-righteousness scale of yours that really is filthy rags.
Yeah.
You are not perfect. So I'm like,
You mean?
I'm not me.
I thought I was.
I grew up in a pastor's home. I'm such a good girl. Yeah. Anyone would be lucky to have me. Wives. A lot, you know, and he began to open my eyes, and now I started to do Christianity the Bible way, like forgiveness, and if something bothers you, pick it up. Why are you bickering? Why are you complaining? Why are you murmuring? Like, always criticizing people, and you think you don't have things to fix? You have things to fix. It was such a hard lesson, but very freeing, because now I was like, oh, I don't have to look in his lane. Let him do him, I will do me, because I have a lot to fix, you know. And it was in there then that I began to say, Lord, maybe this is why you've not given me a child. Maybe you wanted to fix my marriage first. Because imagine, I remember a lady told me once, she was like, can you imagine if God had given you a child in that? Where you think it would have been better, you think it would have healed, it wouldn't. I feel like it would have exacerbated the tension, yeah. So that is where I got healed from desperation. That thing where your period shows up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not pregnant. I don't think it's going to happen again. Oh, it's not going to. And that truth that my husband kept preaching, that God is going to give you children, now became my truth and became real. So yes, it made sense, but I already felt like I'm alone on this journey. You don't seem to be tagging along with me, and now you're telling me about God. Like, I don't want to hear it. But now that truth makes sense, and I feel like God used that experience to heal my marriage. Ben and I are in, coupled with Senga lessons, because I had the conversation with Pumla that year. And just to make the statement that when you get that healing and restoration, it's not like it happens automatically and like everything. I carried on. There were periods where I would go to the kitchen and I know he wants tea and I'd be grumbling. Can't he come and serve it? It's a journey, yeah. And I remember, yes, after having that conversation with Pumla is when I was like, Panay, let me find joy in serving my man.
Like, but he wants tea.
He wants tea.
He has come home.
Hey.
Instead of saying that, but me, I'm tired, we've all been working. But you know that you get joy from him. Also being happy.
Yes.
So why don't you just go and serve him the tea and you'll see the difference.
True.
It's such
small things.
Then I was like, I remember the time when Rachael was just quiet. Like, but Pumla, when you come here and speak to women,
you'll get that. You do them at home.
You go to your home
and do other things.
Yes, she's
mentioned
that.
There's actually a meme I have seen of women like that. The woman is kneeling down, serving her husband, giving him water to wash hands. And it's like, I'm coming back online to tell you don't serve. Happening in her home.
And you know, Rach, now that you mention it, the truth is that what happens sometimes inside comes out as well. I recall, I think it was the second year of Bump Love. And there was always like this cloud over your head, and I always wanted to apologize, but the time never came. I recall when you were really into this baby thing, and then one day I told you, Rachel, can't you be grateful? There are people who are looking just for one. Yes. And when I look back, I realize pain is pain. You know, what you're feeling is what you're feeling. And the worst kind of pain is when nobody understands where you're coming from. Absolutely. For you, you want a baby. And we are busy telling you, there are those who don't have. But that does not take away that thirst or that yearning to hold a baby of your own.
A second one.
Yes, I would like to say sorry, and that people should understand that somebody's yearning is their yearning, you know. It really is.
The preaching of gratitude and being grateful, because exactly what you're saying, I think to myself all the time. I just don't say it because I've gone through a growth where now I know that, excuse me, dear, that pain is pain. And you know, it doesn't matter. You don't know her story, you don't know her journey, you know her. And even if you've gone through the exact same experience as her, you're not the same people. But even me, in my mind, I'm always like, even now I was almost tempted to say, but you have Micah.
It's not the same.
It's just not how it is.
That's true. A lot of people would, when they hear the story, they would be like, but you have Micah.
They would be there in the comments.
You get what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. YouTube commenter.
They are so sweet.
I love you.
Yeah.
Do not ask that question. Yes, she has Micah, but pain is pain.
Pain is pain. That's what I'm trying to say. Pain is pain.
We love
Pain is pain.
It's so just that before you come in, it's so funny that you say that, because I've heard of stories of people who even have 3 children and they wanted 4 originally.
Yeah.
And one has eluded them and they're beside themselves exactly the same way. The one who has no child.
Who has no child.
Their pain is valid.
True.
Even those who have tried for 3 months and nothing is happening, they are beside themselves. Their pain is valid. They are the same as those who have tried for
10 years. True.
Yeah.
True. Absolutely. I think if you equate it, it's like your baby dying at 3 months, or your baby dying at 3 years, or dying at 30. You people, the pain is pain. Yeah, the pain is pain. The pain is pain.
You had 30 years with him.
You know, kale yali yakatandika tusanyusa nafa at 3. It's pain. It's pain. It's pain.
Yeah.
It's pain.
It is.
It's pain.
Wow. So you see her every day walking. What you're carrying on your shoulder.
Yeah, so and it's funny that you talk about, those were some struggle years. When did we start Bump Love?
2019?
But we started shooting, I think, in 2018.
Yes. Yeah. But that change, Rachel, you're like a flower that keeps opening and also saying a
and then when she has the hair,
but you can't believe you were speaking But I was just looking and saying, wow, Rachel,
I've come
you
from
grow
far.
more beautiful every day.
Thank
It
you.
really shows
And
that
it's true that it's an
inside,
inside job,
Yeah.
really.
you exude this warmth and you're like over marshmallows.
For me, I'm amazed when you said you had put your husband on that scale, the righteous scale.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you did. You know, you thought that you're the one who believes God. It turns out he believes God.
He does.
Because
He has
like me,
way
I'm
more
sticking to
faith.
the fact that I am believing God will be the one. IVF, what?
IVF.
I'm sorry.
But you see how a man in a house really has to be a leader.
Yes.
Because another one would be like, okay, let's do, because money couldn't have been the problem.
Yes.
He's annoyed, he's not talking.
He's not talking.
And then
That's-
my wife, she
she
said she
insisted
believes in
on
God.
it.
Now you see her lifting her hands during worship.
She may
Oh,
cause
she
that
worshiping, yes,
thing.
they are going to the doctor. Guys, they are also complaining.
He's complaining. You know, I actually had to be sure that Ben was serious. So I asked him, so are you saying no? Like, are you putting your foot down? He said, I have put my foot down. We're not doing IVF.
We saw him on the men's show.
My friend.
Even I can know, and I am putting my foot down.
Yes.
I tell he says it softly.
Yeah.
He doesn't shout.
No, he doesn't shout.
No, it doesn't. And we're considering the area he also comes from, we shall not be tribalistic. But no is a no.
I've been a testament to Rachel's journey.
Yes.
Probably,
Yeah.
those people who hear, who are on the journey, actually who are on the journey, but not on the child side, more on the marriage side. And I can tell you that, like, as a woman of God, for Rachel, God was preparing her for a certain time.
Yeah, for
She's
sure.
not able to share, but God was preparing her for a certain time, and her marriage needed to be intact. Do you know intact?
So
Her
true.
marriage needed to be intact. And if a baby had entered in
That period, that mix, true.
in that mix, by now we would have two divorcees. Rachel and Pumla.
But I don't see Rachel D.
I
going.
would have been there for
No.
support.
The other thing,
Support everywhere.
you see how Rachel says she doesn't like divorce. That
It
one.
was inevitable. It would have been
That one, it would have happened.
Yeah.
That's
Ben wouldn't divorce her.
dear. Let me tell you, that one. Unfortunately, we can't talk.
Anyway,
But it
true.
was. But I want to know what 2023 looks like. Like this morning, what does that look like?
I procrastinated this show. I was not in the frame of mind to talk. I think by now I'd be in tears on the floor. Oh my gosh, I don't have
I want to see
children.
you crying. You know,
I
you
know.
know, this show we already have our criers.
Okay.
Counting down. Now when we counted down, who has not done story time? We also count who has not
Who has
yet
not
cried.
yet
You want to move into the cry section.
These are my friends. You
Yeah, because what if I cry before you?
No.
So you finish, you guys finish, then at least I'm like, okay.
Okay, I think if you cry now.
Even if I cry now.
But the Lord healed me, you guys. There are not going to be tears today.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Because I was supposed to share this story when 2019.
Dear, don't take us back.
I'll be like, oh my God. You guys, I don't think I can do this show anymore.
Tissue.
Then Mr. Producer will say, you guys, it's okay.
And I know Brian,
Let's take 5. Let's take 5.
Take 5, it's
check
okay.
5, you'll be rolling.
Yeah, you don't want to even focus on it.
Content.
For the tears to be seen.
Then I'll be here saying, shit, what do I do? What do I do? I'm the one next to you. People who are great at comforting on the other
On this side.
Oh my goodness. So
2023.
2023, I'm very hopeful, you guys. It's a journey, and when I say I'm very hopeful, it doesn't mean that there are days where I sort of like, but wait, I'm growing older, is this thing going to happen? God has told me, and I think one of the things that I need to mention is in my years of desperation, I was not hearing God. I was not dreaming, you know, like, because usually people who are either connected to the Lord and you're believing God for a child, He will speak to you and tell you of things to come, whether through dreams or through people. People will have prophetic words for you and say, you know, you're going to have a child. And I was not hearing anything, I guess, because for me, I had a goal, child, baby, and then after all these other God things can show up.
Yeah.
But so after reconnecting with my faith in 2020, it's been a journey of hope and restoration. And I have heard clearly from the Lord, He is going to give me children.
Oh, yeah. That's what we know.
Baby shower. Baby showers, Lord, this year ends, you are going to be pregnant.
Prophetess Rachael.
Yes. Take it.
I receive it.
Receive
it. Yeah.
His
So
time,
I am
everything
very
is
hopeful.
possible.
I'm very hopeful that I will.
I'm so glad. 2023
And you
is
can
bright.
carry on with that doggy.
future is
It will
bright.
be good.
Oh, wow.
And then what?
That
Carry on with that doggy to be good.
Angie girl, those are things that come from Navacho's mouth. What's happened?
Shall join.
Have you exchanged seats?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm very hopeful. But like I said, it's a journey. I mean, there are days when, and even as far as recently as beginning of this year, I was just like, okay, Lord, another year has come to an end. And I remember when the year usually comes to a close, I feel the weight of this emotion because I'm like, the year is over. I'm not pregnant.
Let us
we
know in the
next
comment
year.
section who you think you want, who do you want to hear from? Because now we are left with two people. Angie and Rosette.
let's do Rosette.
I want a vote. We are going to vote in the comment section.
Don't vote me. We might do it 2 years from now. So I
You
don't
have 2 years
cry.
to think.
So I don't cry. For me, I cry for happiness. I cry for sadness.
We are here.
The tears.
We are all crying.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And maybe just, I wanted to speak to a mom in waiting. I know that this journey is hard, and there are women who reach out to me. I've sort of alluded to my journey on the show. Yeah. You know, like when I throw in I'm waiting for a child, or I'm going to get pregnant, blah, blah, blah. So people kind of know that there's been a journey behind the scenes. And I just wanted to say to you that God knows your need. And don't despair. I feel like for me, what happened was God first healed me from the desperation. That place of despair is such a pit. Because even though your husband is as loving and as caring and as empathetic, I don't think he can carry that desperation. Only God can. And I think for me, I would say take that desperation to him. He knows that you want a child, and he's more than willing to give you one if you will let him. You can try, and I know I talked about IVF. For you, that might be your path. God might say, you know, I'm going to give you a child through IVF. Those are the arguments I was having with Ben. I said, but God can give us children through IVF. Also, there are no guarantees. So he was like, I've said no. Okay, so I digress. God can give you children through whatever means. He's capable of giving you children. I've heard of women who have conceived even without uterus.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes.
People whose ovaries were declared dead,
Yeah.
and God gave them children. Sarah in the Bible was not just barren, she was old, and God gave her a child. So I think for me, my message to you would be a message of hope, that don't despair. God is going to give you a child.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, I took us to church.
Yes,
Amen.
Yes, but now I don't even know how to
close. I'm so sorry.
Like, what
Wow.
Until next time with now
From